Yo, did I forget to switch to the Minecraft? Bro. There we go. Come on. Appear. There we go. Um, welcome. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say. I I did redstone. That's why episode number 2 is taking ages to come out right now. It's because I've been working on this little guy. And it has been a pain. I've spent so many hours on this. Because the thing is, I'm not very good at redstone. I can, do a few things. But, like, I'm not crazy good at redstone whatsoever. So this has been so much of just trying so hard to do stuff in order to make this. So you guys will get to know like a little bit of a like sneak peek, you know? So basically, if you remember, I mean, I'm guessing everyone in here probably watched the first little Minecraft Metacube SMP video. Basically, where the basement was in my house that I made. Because I think I did that in episode 1. I don't remember. I have so many hours of footage. Basically, I made a basement and I wanted the floor to like open up and extendable staircase basically. That's all I've been wanting to do. But it's been hard. Because like all that is there at the moment is pretend these are logs, by the way. This is currently what the little base looks like. I need this to come out a little bit more. And then it was bada bing, bada boom, repeaters. Bada bing. Bada boom. I should have built all this beforehand to showcase what I've been doing. Okay, so this is sort of what it looks like once I add in this little last bit of redstone. These are all connected. Boom. This is all that's made right now. And all I've been doing for it is I'm setting up like a hidden cauldron system, basically. Which some of you might know what that is. Okay, there. So basically, I do this. Boom, the floor closes up. Just pretend it's the same on the other side. Because it's, it's a too wide hole for the basement where all the stairs are. So you put water in, it closes up. You take water out, it opens up. But then I was like, in order to have extendable staircases, these redstone blocks are going to be an issue. So then I started playing around with triple piston extenders to try to get that back. That way, whenever I do, in fact, make a little something here, where it can retract like this. Perfect. That's the most, current thing I've been trying to work on. Is making it where that will extend now. But yeah, in order to do that, I needed the redstone to come out. Thing is, I've never made a piston extender, ever. The concept was simple enough for me to do a double right here, because all you do is have an observer power that block and another observer power that block, which is basically how this all works. Simple enough. So basically, I learned how to do a piston extender, which then I took, this design. I don't remember who made it. And I went and just looked how it, works and stuff. But then I ran into an issue, because I tried to turn this upside down. But there's one problem. You cannot just simply turn this thing upside down. For the reason of that is this line right here, you want to power this block because when the piston when this piston pushes this piston over to here, that block needs to be powered, so then this piston extends. Or retracts. But for some reason, it's timed so well that it extends from some sort of power it's getting. I'm not really sure. But I was like, okay, let me just simply flip it upside down. There's one problem. Basically, I try to flip it upside down, but the thing is, how this works right now, this observer powers this observer. Like the block itself. And because that block is powered, this then extend. But the thing is, it doesn't work the same when something's being powered on the bottom. So that was annoying. Which means I can't just simply flip it upside down because this block just can't get powered. On the other hand, if it was some sort of other block, like cobblestone, it does get powered. But whenever it's an observer, it doesn't wanna. So then I just ended up kind of messing around with everything, trying to flip everything upside down, and we have this weird looking thing. Is there a simpler way to do this? Probably. But I didn't want to look at a tutorial. I wanted to figure it out. So I got my pistons, sort of like over here, how there's a couple observers that monitor this piston. I did a couple here, and I tried to limit the amount of observers I was using for a very specific reason, which was being each time power goes through an observer, there seems to be like a very slight delay. I'm guessing it's maybe like 1 tick delay per observer or something like that, or maybe like half a tick. I'm not quite sure the specifics. All I know is that there's a slight delay. So I was trying to match it to how this piston extender worked with the number of observers, because I learned that if I put too many observers, then whenever this piston tried to retract this piston, it was already extended trying to bring back the redstone block. Which, basically, when a piston is extended, it can't be retracted. It has to be retracted in order for the piston itself to be retracted. So I've been just trying to get the timing just right, which then is what this weird thing of I don't want to add any extra observers to mess it up. So a lot of it's just straight up redstone. The main reason why this was difficult in the first place is because since I needed to layer them side by side like this, I had to make it 1 block wide this way in order for this all to work. But basically, observer, observer, sort of like how this works. Repeater, which I now know repeaters also have like that half tick or tick delay simply going through repeaters, because this weird line of observers you can see right here looked a little different before. Because this observer was like right here. It was detecting right here, but then because of that power signal, it was going into here. So I was like, let me just layer repeaters down this line. But then because of that, whenever these observers detected it, which then, you know, the pistons would extend that redstone block out, it was doing it in a sort of wave motion. But because of the redstone blocks being, you know, redstone blocks, it was an issue. Because the redstone blocks will, you know, keep the pistons powered if they're not synced up completely, like, in sync. So I ended up just doing that. So I kind of moved this off to the side. That way I could keep this redstone. And now it kind of works. It works enough. Obviously, there is one thing, which these stairs will be actually moved up. So you see this stair right here. This stair is actually supposed to be right here. Which means that observer will be like right here. So I'm probably going to have more observers just kind of take it down. It doesn't matter how slow it really is. As long as I get the repeater timings correct, it shouldn't matter. But yeah, sort of like how those observer works. 2-tick repeaters. 2-tick repeaters that kind of delay power, and since power from the observers go into this cobble, that'll extend the pistons out, and a bit of a delay, so pretty much push out, and then this will get powered at a delay, which then will push that out, which then this piston gets, you know, pushes the redstone block out even more. I'm not entirely good at explaining this. All I know is I power certain blocks in the right timing, which was way too much trial and error. That's why it took me 3 days. But it power different block because of observer. That is what matters. So what we're trying to figure out right now, the whole reason I'm streaming, is because I kind of like it. It took me a while to make, but it works, and that's what matters. See, the it all like pushes out because the observers push. Could I have watched a tutorial on how to make a 2-wide hatch open plus extendable stairs? Could I have watched a tutorial on how to do that and then just build that? I mean, probably. There's probably an infinitely more easy solution than whatever this is. I know that much. But again, I don't claim to be like a guru at redstone. So this is the best I can do. It looks weird. thank you to whoever made the tutorial on this piston extender, because I used that as a frame of reference and kind of tried my best to flip it upside down. In case you're wondering why I can't just flip this over, is first of all, it's too tall. So, piston, observer, observer. There would be an observer line sort of right here. And I could just have had, like, nah, that wouldn't have worked. 'Cause even if I had a repeater on top of that, this bottom, I don't know how I would power this bottom piston. But again, right now, the thing we're trying to figure out right now is simply just the extendable stairs. Mr. the Cat, welcome. Welcome. I've been doing this for too long. When will the next Metacube video come out? Honestly, maybe later tonight or tomorrow. The whole reason why it's been delayed is because video number 2 is gonna have this thing in it. Because remember the little shack I made? That little shack I made, the floor will open up and stairs will extend out to like the basement area where all my farms are. Yeah, I've been just trying to figure out the redstone behind it, because, in order for extendable stairs, I need, redstone block to not be there. I needed it to come out, because if this was on this side, hey look, there's a redstone block there. If it was normally, right here, there's a redstone block here. The problem is, because of this piston extender, this problem would start happening. It would just never retract because of the redstone block, which means I can't close the floor block. Jeez, my brain is exploding. But that means I couldn't close the floor back up. So I went and learned how to make a piston extender. Someone made a tutorial on how to make this little thing. Very compact. Little piston extender. I don't remember whose tutorial I watched. I basically built it in this world and tried to figure out how to flip it upside down. You can't just make this upside down. It doesn't work. So I went and learned how to... Well, I didn't really learn how to do anything. If I'm completely honest, all of this is just trial and error of trying to copy this upside down. But just trial and error until it works and I got the right timings down. And it took ages. There's the little Discord server we have for this SMP. I have a little voice chat that I like to sit in, and it's kind of funny because sometimes someone will join and be like, have you seriously just been sitting in this voice chat for like hours? And I was like, yeah, you want to watch me figure this out? So they've all been just watching me trying to figure it out. It's been tough. Also, in case you're wondering why I have all these repeaters right here instead of just doing redstone and then repeaters at the end, it's because when the redstone powers on, when the redstone powers on, let's say there's redstone on top of this block and it turns on because of this system. This block is now powered. This piston will extend out. We don't want those pistons to extend out when up here is being powered. So I had to do a repeater line all the way down. Plus also I needed to delay these anyways, because what I want is this redstone block to extend out and then this to extend forward. Because Mr. Cat, what is happening right now on my base? This is what's on my base right now in the actual server, is that system. Obviously, it's also on the other side, and it's 2 blocks wide, but that's the system. But yeah, extendable stairs need to come up. I needed to move the redstone block back in order to do that, so I try to flip over a triple piston extender as best I could, which then made this. Obviously, there's probably an easier way I could have done this. I know. But I wanted to figure it all out on my own. But a cool thing is this little guy. So I don't know why I did this actually. 1 second. Well, I know why I did the system. I don't see why I did the redstone torch though. Let me move it. Oh yeah, because I was trying to do a redstone torch sort of thing earlier. See, it works like that. Ignore the redstone torch though, because that wasn't supposed to be there. But here, let me show you sort of what I did. This is sort of what it'll look like. Like this. So basically, I'm doing a hidden cauldron where you put water in it and it will, having water in it, the door will be closed, but you take the water out of it and the floor will open up in the shack that I've made in that first video. So basically, put this water in, boom, floor closes up. And then it's like, oh, I need to open up the floor and go down to the basement. Take the water out. The redstone block retracts. The rest of it retracts. The floor is open. Which then plays into this system I was experimenting with over here. Which basically, when I take the water out. So, when I take the water out, sort of like how it is right now, how there's no water, the floor opens up, right? But, when I take the water out, which will activate this repeater line, because I need to delay when the pistons extend as long as possible, because I need to wait for the floor to open up, and then it extends. So basically, what I have is this sort of system. I take it out, piston extends because, power goes through it, and then bam, it's delayed. And obviously, for people that do redstone, they would know why I did this piston here. And that's because when the floor is closing up, I need everything to retract as fast as possible and not be delayed. And if I just didn't have that piston there and it was just straight redstone, I would have to wait for the power to go out on each repeater until that same delay that I used to turn on the pistons, I would have to wait that same amount of delay for them to retract and turn off. So that's the point of this piston, is because I can cut off power immediately. So basically, boom, cuts off power, even though there's all this delay, it immediately cuts out power for this to retract immediately. And then the floor will close up, so on and so forth. Everyone knows how it works now. So there's that. Now I know, the sort of system I need to do for the pistons extending. I set up this stupid, annoying triple extender to get this redstone block out back here. So now the floor can close and open, and the pistons have a system where they can, be delayed to extend and then retract as fast as possible. From there, all it depends on is just getting the right repeaters, or getting the right amount of like delay on the repeaters for, everything. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this weird thing I made. So there's one other thing, and then we'll work on more redstone. This system right here. So obviously when I put in this, it's constant power, which is what these pistons want. But with a triple piston extender, you don't want it to have constant power because of how this works. You have one redstone signal come in from the button, and then another redstone signal come in when the button like unpresses. So one goes in when it presses, and then that other signal comes in when it unpresses. Same situation over here. I need two separate signals. I need one signal to come in to push the redstone block out all the way, and then I need another one to come in. Or, well, I need one redstone signal to... Okay. This is a little different from this piston extender. Because this kind of piston, I couldn't figure out how to time it where I could retract it all the way. But I don't need it to retract all the way, so it's fine staying there. But basically, I needed one signal to come in, which pushed all these pistons out like halfway. And the observers would fire up and stuff. And then when the signal turns off again, this piston would retract, which then sends another input through this circuit, which then is what makes this piston push the redstone block out. So I needed two separate signals, aka I needed to make an artificial button. Basically, I needed to make a button that would come off of this signal right here. Which then might be thinking, why not just do what I did here and use an observer that then would activate it, so on and so forth. Why not just use an observer? That's actually pretty simple of a reason why I did not use that observer, is because watch how fast that signal goes through. It only flashes for a moment. That's the problem right there, is that the signal only flashes for a moment. With a button, as I'm sure most of you probably know, with a button, the redstone stays on for quite a bit and then turns off. So I couldn't just simply use an observer. I needed to set up a system where I could make an artificial button where the power will stay on just enough and turn itself off. And because I don't know much about redstone, but I do know about dropper-hopper combos, so I was messing around with dropper-hopper combos. It wasn't exactly working how I wanted it to, so I couldn't quite get it to work until I made this. Basically how it works is this observer detects when the power changes. So, oh, there's constant power now, or oh, it's off. So what it does is it then powers this dropper, which drops into this dropper. But because that dropper is also being powered, it also activates this dropper at the same time. So the item ends up right here. Which then, this is not a dispenser. These are droppers. A dispenser would not work. The droppers can drop inside of each other, which is nice. I don't know that they can do that. Basically, these two droppers do drop at the exact same time, so it ends up in this top dropper, which is pointed at which is pointed at this hopper, which leads back into the original dropper. That way, you know, it keeps the system sort of looping right here correctly. So whenever a power change happens, boom, boom, the item ends up in here. Because the comparator, it detects it. And then there's a redstone signal that goes in, sort of like how the button works. And it keeps the redstone signal. And then I have it set up to a timer where then the dropper drops the item out of it, basically puts it into the hopper, which then gets put back into that dropper, which then turns off power, which then means this piston retracts, which then completes the circuit that we want. So like if we were to watch it, by the way, I only have this redstone right here just to detect that I have an item in that dropper. So basically I take it out, circuit, then it turns itself off, which then by doing that, you have to leave for a little. It's okay. This stream is going to be a pretty short one, and then I'm going to finally put this in the world, and that'll be the last little footage I need for episode 2. But yeah, basically artificial button by sticking an item in here. It turns on this piston extend, which then those observers, you know, detect that it extended. The whole circuit does its thing. And then it drops the item out, which means it basically just, you know, turns itself off, which means this piston retracts. These observers detect it. The power goes through the system, and it finishes putting the redstone block out here. And then whenever I put, you know, power back in, boom. So you can see how it turns off. This circuit down at the bottom activates again, which is what makes that piston get that redstone block out. And then when I do it this time, is what makes that piston right there retract the redstone block, while also this being on a delay, so this retracts the thing, which then retracts the redstone block. That's the whole system I set up, and it took me ages. And then after it retracts, the stairs will all come up, and there will be stairs. Right now, the current problem I'm having is the fact that I need to then put a triple extender, and I have to do like a normal triple extender, but it has to still be one wide. That's going to be the problem. I have an idea on how it might work though, because sort of like how I could make it that way, I can also make it that way. If I wanted to do a full sort of stair system, I would have to also do a quadruple piston extender. If you're like, what do you mean? Well, look at where this stair ends up. I need to do this just from a double. A triple will put a stair right here. But then the floor itself is right here. So the stair, like at the end of the stair right now, you'll have to sort of jump up a little bit after I figure out how to make that triple. But the thing is, if I were to actually make a triple extender, I would have to do what I did with the double here and kind of just move a lot of this module out that way to the side, because there's no way for me to do the triple using literally just these two blocks, you know, because I would have to, you know, have piston, 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 stair, you know, all right here. And then I would have only these 4 blocks and whatever's under, that piston to work with. That's all I would have to work with, and I don't think you can make a triple extender like that. So I'm just gonna make a triple extender how I think I might be able to do it. I have a sort of idea on how to do it, which then all that means is a lot of the modules, sort of like the double, will kind of just come out this way. But I don't want to look up a tutorial on like normal piston extenders. I want to actually try to figure out this one on my own and just see if I can do it. But it's definitely going to be pretty difficult. First things first, I need to figure out where power is exactly going to go into this thing. I need to activate the piston itself. I don't need to worry about any of that right now. But the fact is, I set up a piston here. So how should I go about this? Because if I put a block here, it's going to activate everything weirdly. But maybe it doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is I have to... I can keep that at a constant power if I need to. No, I have to do another button system. It can't have constant power, which makes it infinitely more difficult. Oh no. How do I power that redstone dust right there? Yeah, because I would have to do like a couple of repeaters like this. Redstone here. Something tells me that's not going to quite work. So let me guess. Yep. Yeah, this might be a little harder than I expected. Can I... My fallback... My brain... My fallback plan is actually a pretty simple one. Is quite literally just stick slime blocks and do like a slime block little trampoline where you would hit the button and it would launch you up to the floor, which then would close up immediately. That's my fallback plan. But I do want to get this to work. But speaking of, who said I had to put this right here? Because I could just, do a little something like that. So if I do it like this, have it come over, over, over. And now when I power this, well, it definitely powers. Do I have a detector going the wrong way? So that detects the piston, which then this detects that, this detects that, which then this detects that, this detects that. Huh. Um, hmm. Because I need to do it in a very specific way. There's a piston here. We don't want it to actually get powered. Well, it's kind of fine being powered. Because even if that's powered, yeah, see, that's fine. And now we can do this, this. I think that will work. It's quite the module. Yep, it works. So now we got the double piston extender working, where I can kind of stick it anywhere, probably. Yeah. So I can probably stick that anywhere. And now because I have this line coming out, just let me think. Actually, yeah, which block is this a part of? This one? That's where the double is. Piston 1, 2. So currently, like, because the piston, the double piston extender will be right there, right? That means the redstone would be right here. Huh. Now, how do I... How do I go about this? So I can't just put the redstone where it connects. Otherwise, I'll mess with the entire system. Um. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, there's an... Maybe I have a solution, but it kind of depends. So that does work. Okay. We're gonna have to move this observer line a little bit. Something like this. Because if I can't bring the redstone signal out that way, I can just take it underground like this. Oh, right. Like this. Perfect. Which means now I gotta get the observer all the way through. Can I pass that signal through an observer? No. It has to be a normal block. Okay. Which means I have to have this observer go quite far. Unless I can just stick the system. Like, I might be able to just stick it here. Because this is far enough below everything. Yeah. So now when I hit the button, we'll pretend that all this stuff is just on right now. So that extends, and then there'll be a signal for the piston extender as well. Well, it works for a moment, but then it retracted. Why? Hmm. If I had a guess... Yes, because this piston is being extended, which is a problem. 'Cause, like, because it's not it's extending at the same time this one's trying to grab it, which is weird to say the least. But it's also probably because of the entire observer line I got going. Let me get this over on this side. That way I have a better view of what's going on. I don't know where that second signal is coming from. Well, no, because I had the second signal before. But yeah, it's... The problem is that just... I need it to... Why does its extend happen right there? How do I go about this? I need to add a slight, like, delay or something. What if I just, like, stick a redstone lamp? Almost. It's kind of close. The only way I can think of is just adding in more observers to delay everything. What would have happened if instead I just kept going down? Because maybe this will give me the delay I need again. Possibly. Now the problem is power's just not getting... No, I have to make it faster. So the problem right now is I'm using too many observers. Surprising. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I making this more difficult than it has to? Because of this line, I can just... I don't need to do all this. I can quite literally just... Beep. 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 Beep, 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 beep. And that should make it a lot faster. Because the less observers you use, the faster the observer little circuit or system is. See, that's what I was looking for. And then that'll retract. And then, you know, this will come up. This will do its double extension. And there we go. Now we got a few stairs. A few stairs. And because of the observer system and where it is, I'm not going to have any problems with it interfering with the rest of the system. So basically all this is going to be is just... Oh, piston extend. All of these extend. And then floor close up. Perfect. And then when I want to, the floor will open up. just like that. And then these will all extend out. Extendable stairs. Okay. Perfect. This is what we're trying to do. I forgot to get rid of that. So now that we got that little bit to work, that's perfect. And now I can put this button anywhere. And how I need to kind of mimic a button press because it's a piston extender, well, that's simple enough. I'll just build a second one of these. These are relatively simple to make. All I have to do is just strap a few droppers and a hopper. So that'll control the stair system. But now I gotta do one more thing. We gotta figure out one more problem, and then I can go back on the server and actually finish the the third episode. Now I gotta make a piston extender, a triple piston extender here. So sort of like that piston extender, what I need to do is all I know is I need to power this and have an observer read it. I don't think it's going to be quite possible enough to get a quad in here, especially not in this small amount of room that I have. Like maybe if because I can easily build a triple, like turning that on its side, sort of. Possibly. I can make the vertical triple pretty easily, but I just can't make it over here is the problem, because then it'll start interfering with the other system if I do something like, you know, this. And then it's just like, I could, because I would have to do something like this, basically. But then that would power over there, so we can't make it go to the side. We're going to have to make it all come out this way, but luckily, most piston extenders are all like 1 block wide if you just rotate it a certain way. So I should be able to just have it go that way. And we'll just have it where when the stairs, you know, right here, which means, you know, the floor will be sort of right here. You'll have to hop up a little bit, but that is okay. I'm fine with hopping up a little bit. That's not too much of an issue. At least it's not for me. Redstone, isn't it so fascinating? But I think I can do this all on my own. First things first, we're gonna need a way to power this piston, which might end up just being the exact same way we powered the other one, so we can sort of move the button wherever we want to. For now, I can get rid of these buckets. I'm not going to be using it for a moment. So, you know, repeater, redstone. There we go. Let me reset all this. Actually, let me just not have it hold a block just yet. Okay, so now all I have to do... So I need to power the piston when it comes up. This is gonna hurt my brain figuring all this out. But I'm gonna figure out all of it all on my own. Now this is gonna have to come out just a little bit more. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room. I'll set up a button to simply test stuff in the meantime. Something like that. Bruh. There we go. Okay, it did pull the piston. That is one of the parts we want. A lot of the stairs will be delayed quite a bit, which means I'm gonna have to put a delay on all of this, like quite a bit. And do the same system I have right here where, you know, it opens up as fast as possible, but then takes a while to close for this to retract. While this will take a while to extend to allow this to open up, but then retract as fast as possible. So I should now be able to just simply also do something like this. Which extends that piston out. But then I gotta do it again, so that piston extends out as well. Okay, now you're just being grabbed. Come on. Okay, but you extend all the way out normally? It's because there's two power sources. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of a problem now I think about it. This triple, it works fine because, you know, it doesn't matter that this piston extends and just kind of sits right here. With this, I have to actually retract all of it. Wait, no, I don't. Because when it's out, yeah, I don't have to. No, never mind. Because that's the only... I can't extend this anymore. Like, I actually can't extend it anymore. So I can't just put another right here, because then that'll start blocking. You have to keep everything under this line. Which means I should be able to add delay by just doing that. Maybe that works. I'm curious what happens if I just add in this. This is going to be a little harder than I thought it would. I need something. I need some way to power that block. Actually, yeah, because I can just... It's fine if I power stuff here now. Okay, does that work? Kind of. That's fine. I need to delay this piston just a little bit. Which means... something like that, I think. But it's not grabbing. That's the problem. We still need this to push out just a little bit more. How do I do that? I added in too much delay here now. Okay, let's see what this looks like first. Okay, I don't think that's how this is supposed to go. Well, it grabbed it at the very least. Yeah, but those are all still trying to retract at like the same time. What if we delay this one? No, we don't want it to delay. We want you to be as close to immediate as possible. But then we want you to be delayed a good amount. Okay, kind of, kind of. But then I need it to go again. I'm almost there. Because what I need to do is to push up just like that, and then pull, pull, and then pull again. How did I make that pull twice here? I use repeaters. Okay. Okay, well, it kind of almost worked. The problem is now everything's at the same time. Okay, it's not supposed to do that. Yeah, I don't think that's the way to go. We need a tiny bit more delay. Like so. Okay. Well, we almost got it. The problem is this piston is now not doing very much. But I need it to push at least twice. No. I mean, I got it very close now. But the part about the triple extender extending, you know, far enough is the problem now. Like, oh, right. So I just remembered something. Basically, because I can't get a quad. Okay, so you see how this is 5 long. Originally, it was going to be, you know, it pushes up once, twice, 3 times. Wait, no. It was going to be normal stair, right? Pushes up once, double piston extender, triple piston extender. So that would get the block up here, which then there's the floor. Quad piston extender, which then makes it, you know, where it goes all the way up. But I said, you know, I'm just going to take out this section. I was going to take out that entire section if Let me fix that up real quick. Anyways, yeah, I was just gonna make it, 4 long like this. If I couldn't do the quad. I can't do the quad, which means it's only gonna be 4 wide. Which means I can use this entire back area. Which also means how I needed the piston to go one more time. I can kind of just do something like that. Exactly. But now the only issue is, again, when that second piston gets up to here, it's not extending at all. Okay. Okay, so it seems like the problem is just the fact that no power is going to it. But why? Surely I'm mistaken, right? Let me get the button over here instead so I can sort of watch. Oh, right. Piston. Detect that. I don't know what that's about, though. It's like, why is that signal not getting any power? Like, it's just straight up not getting any power. Why? So this connects over to here. I see why. It's because that was the wrong block. Now it should work. Uno momento. Anywho, time to finish doing more redstone. Okay, so now we fixed it. So now we hit the button, which is over here now. That's the wrong button. You know what? Sure. Have everything extended for now. So we can sort of see, you know, the stairs. So we hit this button. How in the world did you get activated? What is turning you on? Probably right here. Huh. Do I need it to be faster? Yes, I need it to be faster. Which means we do this. And we make it even faster. That way it doesn't power. Well, I'm not going to get any faster than that, which means I got to delay this bottom one. Oops. Making this in survival is going to be quite interesting. But maybe that's all I needed to do right there. They're too synced up. Well, that didn't quite work. Okay, no, we want this to have a delay, actually. Which means we do that. The timing on this is hard. Okay. That's progress. That means this should be dragged down quite a bit. No, don't grab it again. Why'd you go twice? It's because you let out a signal? No. I don't know why it has a double signal. Probably because the repeater. But at least that means... I can delay it like that. That way it doesn't have that problem. There, see? Now it only goes once. So push it up. Perfect. The only thing that's not happening is right there. I actually need that one to have a second pull. Which means I will need a repeater instead. So this was pointed up, right? Yes, it was. Was anything reading it? Nothing was reading it. Oops. Which means we put this thing sideways. This way. Okay, maybe just delaying it like that will work. Maybe it won't work. Right now, a good way to make it work is this right here. So all we have to do is get that pushed up one more. And it does pull down the thing, which is what we want. But we also want... we want another signal right here. Best way I can think of is doing something like this. But then how do I power it? Well, this can go somewhere else. You know what? Something like that, maybe. Maybe not. Right now, it's just not fast enough. Yeah. Hmm. This should make it faster. Okay. Now, um, what does that line go to? I'm not even sure. You're waiting to detect the piston, which then you go to here. What are you detecting? The exact same thing, I'm guessing? Yeah. Um, that is getting a signal, right? No. Oh, that's because I did that wrong. Oh, hello, table. We're doing redstone. I'm so close to figuring this out, all on my own. Okay, now I just need it to retract a little bit more. Okay, it gets pushed all the way up. I need to set up a longer time. Oh yeah, since I have a lot more room to work with, I don't even need everything else. I can just do that. No, because I need you to pull down as fast as possible. So this needs just a slight amount of delay. You suck at redstone? Real, me too. I'm trying to get everything figured out. Finally finish episode 2. But let's see. So if I want this to have a slight amount of delay, I can do it like that. I need to delay it even more. Gotta delay it even more. What matters is we did technically push it all the way up, which means we have the extendable staircase. Right now, we're just trying to delay everything as much as possible. Okay. Now we make this one a little bit faster. Almost. Well, if it was if that was supposed to be retracting, that would have been perfect. So I need this to be... The reason I delayed it so much is because I need this to retract the piston before, but I also need it to be fast enough. How did I do it over here? So that bit's slightly more delayed than that bit. 1, 2, 4, basically. So we have immediately. Then we need... We're gonna redo all of this. Okay, so immediately... How much delay does an observer give? I'm gonna look it up. Let's see here. So each observer sort of delays to 2 redstone ticks. Which means the only way I can sort of replicate what I have here. It's weird. Let me think. So how do I have it set up in here? How does this work? So I have how many observers until it runs into this? 4. I have 4 observers I can play with. There's 2. Three. 3. That doesn't mess with any of that. That's what I was wanting. This button is in such a weird place. Let me put it there. Two observers. So how this works is that's a 2-tick delay. Each repeater gives 1 tick delay. So that's 2 ticks of delay, and that's 2 ticks of delay. Plus the observers, though. I don't have to worry about the repeaters until I get to the 3rd line. So right now what I'm worrying about is just 1, 2 observers, 1 tick, another observer. Apparently each observer gives like 2 tick, is like a 2-tick delay per observer. So that's 2, 4, 5, 7. This turns on. So I don't have to worry about that tick delay. So 7, 9, 9. I have 9 ticks to play with. So 2, 4, 6, 8. 1 more tick of delay. Okay. 6. We're going to route the redstone a little differently. Let's see here. No, of course it doesn't want to do that. So I might set up a little something like this. I do not want those to be connected. No, thank you. That's actually sort of what I want. That's kind of like 4 ticks of delay. Yeah, that's 4 ticks of delay right now. Which I believe is kind of like this, right? 4, 6. This is 6 ticks. I got 4. If I need to, I can always add a little bit more. Then that means 4, 6, 8, block. Maybe this works. Okay, that works. Which now just means I need to power up this guy when he's right there. Which I should be able to just do whenever I need to. That's how I did it over here. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do something similar. I set it up with 1 ticks after the initial. So this initial line is what I set that up to. Do they go at the same time? They do power at the same time. Oh, okay. Which means I can do something like this. We'll have just a block here for you. And then it'll be redstone. You will also like redstone. But we'll place it like this. Sort of like how we did on the other little bit. Which, believe it or not, these are actually linked together. For whatever reason. I don't know why they do that, but someone that's good at redstone might be able to tell you. And then we wind it all up together. So then supposedly not quite working. It's because that piston It's trying to push out at the same time. Okay. So the problem right now is when that pushes, is when this guy actually pushes. Hmm. Delay. What exactly is powering it, though? It is this. This needs to have a slight delay. Okay. I think this probably whole observer line needs to have a slight delay. Which means we can't link it up together like completely. So we'll put a repeater there. Now it has a slight delay. Right, repeaters don't work that way. Now we do it. Did it work? Did I? No, because I need it to be fast enough. But what if I do this? Have them sort of switch positions on, you know, where they actually were. Something like this. Does it at least... It does. It pushes all the way up. But then the problem is... Now that's the problem. I actually want to delay this, which is actually how it was supposed to be. I think I got the correct delay on everything else, except for this, where I kind of just didn't delay it too much. But if I do this... That's not what needs to be delayed. It's this other block right here. How do I go about delaying it, though? Only ever so slightly. That's gonna be way too much delay. It pushes up, but then it doesn't pull fast enough. Which I might be able to just... I put that facing the wrong way. It's got nothing telling it to pull when it gets right here. That's the problem. See, it gets there, but it's got nothing saying, oh, you know, you need to activate again. Oh, it goes through. Isn't that convenient? Almost. Almost. All we need is it to... All we need is one more little pull. Because that pushes all the way up. What if we change out the block? Yeah. It makes it weird. The problem is just the delay on this part. Perfect. Okay, it kind of almost worked. But now we need one more signal to go to this thing. And then it'll be then we'll be good. What if I do like a redstone lamp right here? Does that mess it all up? Nope. Perfect. Because that means I can possibly detect the lamp to then shoot off another signal. Will I be able to? Yeah, let's not do that. Now, how do I power you multiple times? Because I can't just put redstone right here because then it'll link up the entire thing a little too much. I'm so close to figuring it out, though. It's the only way I could detect is by doing that way. That's not the way. That's not the answer. How do I do it? I'm almost there. But then all that connects up for some reason. I really hope this doesn't activate the other system. Did I do it? Did I do it? It retracted all the way at the very least. Okay, it is retracting all the way. That's what we want. But now the issue is that which is basically the power doesn't stay on long enough over here. So no, we don't want to keep power on. We're almost there though. Hopefully that's delayed enough. It was. Wait, did it actually fully work? It did. I made a full triple extender all by myself. It even retracts all of these and just leaves the stair. Yes. Remember, it's only going to be 4 wide, so it'll be like that. Finally. We got the extendable stairs. It's perfect. It is perfect. And then the floor will close up, just like how we have over here. And I'll just go. Finally. That took ages to figure out, but I did it. And then you'll be able to go all the way up. And then it'll retract. And then it'll close right up. Yes, I don't have to resort to the trampoline. I can just do an extendable stair. Well, that's all, everyone. At least that was all I was gonna, you know, sit around for. Because now we've figured everything out. Which means now I can do it in the actual server. And then finish my episode 2. Which is going to have so much in it. So hope you all enjoyed and see you next time.